All right. Afternoon, well, evening to most. We're live with Silent Season. Been eager for this day to get here. Very honored to have you guys on here and to chat about your music and how things came to be. Let's go ahead and go around and say who everyone is and what your role is in the band, and we'll get off onto the good stuff.
I'm Jeremy. I do vocals. Next.
I'm Brendan. I do guitar. I
Okay,
know.
all right.
We should have
God
planned
damn.
this. I know.
No,
Brendan,
it's
guitar
fun.
player.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I play drums in the band and I help with the business side of things.
I'm Enzo, and I do lead guitar.
Awesome. Now that that's established, let's talk about the inception of season. I'm botching that silent season. Like, what was the point that you guys wanted to get this up and off the ground and going?
Oh boy. Davey
I
boy,
don't
you want to
going
go or
back.
you want me to go?
I'll tell the quick Wendy story here.
All right, let's do
All
it.
right.
All right, let's do it. So Jeremy and I had freshly come off another project that we were playing together in the scene around Boston, and it wasn't working out. We sat at a Wendy's one day, and we just started talking about starting our own project over a frosty and some French fries, and from there, the rest is history. Literally, that next week, we got some recording software. We were out of my parents' basement, putting some demos together, and then
Off
we're
the
like, well, we
crappiest
got to,
computer alive.
yeah, right. Right next to the hacksaw and all the stuff in my dad's basement. But so we said we need to put people around this. We need a guitar player and a bass player, etc. And we found Brendan through, I think Brendan, it was what, a Craigslist or a MySpace ad?
Craigslist.
It was MySpace.
MySpace, yes. So Brendan came in and he shredded and he said, I'm loving Metallica. I'm loving what you're doing. I can rock this out. And then he was part of the band. And through many member changes over the years and whatnot, fast forward to 2024, we found Enzo. Enzo jumped in, playing lead guitar, rocking it. Enzo. You've been just a little under what, 8-9 months around that now, right?
Around there since British.
Yeah, and so he joined, and then we have our bass player Ian that joined. I think it was shortly after Enzo. So it's been a ride. We've done a lot with this project. I don't want to be long-winded. I mean, we've toured with several bands. We'll mention throughout the call here, and we've also been on radio, and we've put out a full-length, an EP, and Jeremy and others will talk about that shortly. And it's been great. I mean, we're still kicking, and we love what we do. We love all the fan support, and appreciate you guys having us on today.
Hey, I love that you guys were more than happy to do this, and it looks like you got a new fan. Beyond the Breakdown podcast, he's a friend of mine. His name's JT. He has his own music as well. Killbait Overdose and Six Scars. I thought he knew who you guys were, so it's kind of cool that you got a new fan.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. Talking about the first album, Breaking Me Down, Brett Hessla. I love that guy. Like, he was behind getting that album, producing as far as I know, and just how did that come about with him?
I think that we had heard a bunch of projects that he was working on at the time. We loved what he was doing in Dark New Day previously to that. And he also was the bassist for Creed for a while too, which is crazy too. So we loved all that. We loved what he was doing, and we wanted to get in on it. And so we decided to get in touch with him. He was down to work with us, and we flew all the way to Florida. And we recorded, what was it, three or two songs? Three?
3. Yeah,
Three.
Waiting,
Songs.
Prisoner, and
Letting Go, I think.
Letting
Yeah,
Go.
letting go. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, no, he was an awesome person to work with. I mean, so when we got there, funny story, when we got there, we thought that we were going to be recording, during the daytime. So we contacted him and we were like, "Yo, we're here. Like, when do you want to do this?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, what was it, like 6 or 5 o'clock at night?" And we were like, "Okay, so like, what do you have, like, 3 hour sessions?" And he's like, "No, I go all night long." And
Damn.
so we're like, "Oh crap! All right, we weren't expecting that." So we
We'll
did like
get back to the
sessions from
hotel
like
room when the sun was
6 o'clock
rising.
at night until like 6 o'clock the next morning, and we were up all night long recording.
That was probably a lot of coffee, a lot of energy drinks, a lot of whatever to keep you awake, I'd imagine.
And the crazy thing is, though,
Yeah,
too, is like, so we would work from those crazy hours, and we'll see him the next night, and we're like, "Oh, how's your day?" He goes, "Oh, I did some work in my kitchen." I'm like, "When? When did you do this?"
Put some cabinets up.
Yeah, he was building cabinets. Yeah,
She's just casually just up there doing that, just acting like he wasn't up all night and just
yeah.
I don't know how people could operate like that. I had a graveyard job at a Walmart for like about almost 10 years, and that killed my sleep schedule when I tried to go back to a day job. I'm still not adjusted. So people that can do that are a whole other animal, like entirely.
yeah.
When you guys were going to do the Breaking You Down record, and just like in general, did you already have the idea in mind of what you want to kind of define the Silent Seas sound to be?
Well, we spent a lot of time writing stuff in Dave's dad's basement at first. So we had the demos and stuff of what we wanted to do. We actually had three, or was it two or three songs that we didn't actually end up putting on that, which
Yeah.
we were recorded in the studio. So like we kind of just like took everything that we thought was going to be our strongest material, and then we put it on the album. And I mean, I think that was the most easy that things have come along in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just like we were all super like energized. Like the scene was really, really fresh at that point. Not a whole lot of things were like clashing. Like a lot of bands are just like, it's so easy for bands to come out with material these days because like technology is just like crazy. Like you can just record from anywhere. But like at that point, like you still had to go to like a studio or whatever, unless you
Right.
had a lot of money and you had, all the tools to do so. But yeah, it was pretty seamless, honestly.
It kind of I could kind of hear that with the record, like like it's super cohesive and it flows really well. I remember when I first heard it, I was like, "This is probably one of the best sounding records I've heard in a really long time," and I always wondered kind of like how that might have happened. And it sounds like it was just probably how seamless it was, and it sounded like it was just a really great environment to put the song together with the people that were involved. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. What do you
Yeah.
guys think?
If my memory serves me correct too, Brett worked on a few of the songs, and we had a few other folks that worked on it. We also had an individual named Brad Young. He worked on one of the songs, "Find Your Way," with the female vocalist on it. And Brad Young was more of a pop producer. He worked with bands like LFO from Massachusetts. Like, I don't know if you remember them, but so what my point is, there was the cool thing about Breaking Me Down. There were a lot of different touches from different producers. So we had the hard side, we had more of the melodic and, I don't want to say pop, but melodic and catchy pieces to this, and then it was just a good collaboration from different people that helped us put this whole thing together, and it gave it a lot of different vibes to speak to a wider audience.
I couldn't agree more. I have a question here that do you have any songs that you stopped doing live that you miss doing?
A real song, Dave.
Dang it, Brendan.
I mean, we have like a whole set list of songs that we stopped doing, and I think that each one of us, likes one more than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like for instance, I think I really liked "Find Your Way."
I love that one.
What's another one that you guys like to do that we don't do anymore? "Letting Go."
Letting
I mean, we
Go.
kind of do that here and there.
Prisoner.
Yeah, "Prisoner." We don't do that anymore.
Prisoner's good, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Cross the Line. There's some elements of the Cross the Line that really got me excited playing that live, but it's just the list is dynamic, Will, right? So we're always if we have longer sets, we have the opportunity to dive deeper into the catalog and bust out some of the older songs, which our fans love. But it's great balancing it with the newer material too, because it's that rejuvenation of what we're trying to do, right? And get out there and get people excited about Silent Season in 2024 as well.
Right. And what's interesting is you guys could go away for a couple of years at a time, kind of quietly in the background putting the songs together. Is it crazy that when you come back and you start like posting stuff on your socials that people are just kind of like, there they are? Or you feel like there's like one of these guys that come back that they're gonna the welcome back isn't gonna be as warm? Like, hey, why do you guys keep going away for so long?
Oh no, we hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's different, there's been changes in the lineup and stuff that have held us back. There's been,
Right.
we were talking
Pandemics.
before, the pandemic. Yeah, we were talking before about how some members have kids now, so like things always, they shift just like the climate, but like we always end up coming back and trying to do what we love to do. So.
We're staying strong this time, Will. We're
Hey,
here
man.
for a long time.
Hey, I mean, I had no doubt in my mind that you guys, weren't going to come back. I knew you were going to come back. You always have. I was just, biting bits sometimes, just eager for something, because Hopeless comes out, and I'm just like, that's a freaking banger. And then I'm like, okay, what are they going to do next? Then of course there was the songs before Hopeless, and I love those all too. But like the span of time, like I think, oh, there's going to be an album announced or something, or maybe an EP. But they're just super high quality, dynamic, high energy, heavy hitting songs each time. And I think that's like the key thing there that keeps people like, ooh, we're just so eager, but it's going to be worth our wait. Like, it's going to be worthwhile.
That's good on man.
I don't think, yeah, my point with that is that for some bands they could go away for as long as they feel they need to, and know that they have something to come back to. And I think that's something that you guys have, like with whatever the lineup is back then and today.
Thanks, man. That means a lot.
Yeah.
It's always a struggle to take a hiatus and then try to get back to where you were, especially with playing shows and stuff like that. Because there are promoters that you used to know, and then they're not there anymore, and you're like, oh, I have to start up a whole new repertoire with like these people, and or like when we were doing like radio and stuff like that, like people have changed with that as well. It's tough getting back into it, but we're glad that at least the fan base is still into it, and we're hoping to make some noise with this new stuff.
I think you already are.
Thanks, man.
The singer for a band called Guides, or sorry, not Guides. the new singer for Paper Cut Massacre checked out the new song In Flames and said it was killer. Loved it.
Oh, really?
Oh
Nice.
wow.
Yeah, he loves it.
Wow, that's awesome. We
Awesome.
love we're huge Paper Cut Massacre fans. We remember the wind up days, Joey and all of them. God bless. I know Joey passed a
Yeah,
year or two ago, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I used to talk to Joey on Facebook all the time. He gave us guidance at times and super chill dude. But I'm also happy to see Paper Cut get back together and go out there and do what they do best, and that's slay. So please let them know our thoughts are with them, but we're so excited about the new lineup, and hopefully we get to link up with those guys and play with them at some point in the coming future.
That would be a really awesome show that I would travel thousands of miles to catch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I just get the time cleared at work and just take the wife and kid and go.
I remember.
I have a question. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead. No, I was just
I
gonna
was
say.
gonna.
I remember when that album came out with Paper Cut Massacre, and Dave and I were just like bumping it like all the time.
It's like I love the ebb and flow of it, like the ballady type stuff, and then like the heavier stuff, and then the kind of like alternative stuff. Like it just had such an awesome sound to it,
Yeah.
Keeps you coming back to it. I still listen to that today, to this day.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say, by the way, is I have a question for Enzo. What's the story with how this came to be? You in Silent Season. What's your background, man?
Yeah, so I had my own long time before I joined Silent Season. Started in high school, and basically it kind of went on for about 5-ish years, and then I it kind of dissipated a little bit. People went away to college and stuff like that, and or like to get their master's degrees or something like that. And yeah, I mean, I was just kind of left without a band for a bit. So then
Right.
I finally kind of just rewired how I thought a bit about music and joining another band, because it was really hard to get into that headspace of joining another band,
Right.
especially an already established one. And I remember I saw Brendan's post on Facebook about looking for a lead guitarist for a hard rock band or something like that. And I finally was just like, you know what, I'll reach out and see what happens. And then we just kind of got to talking about what the expectations were and stuff like that. And eventually we had a rehearsal together. And yeah, I thought things went well. It seems like it did go well, because now I'm in the band. So yeah, that's really kind of how it came to be. And yeah, ever since I've been super happy to be a part of the band. It's been really cool.
Yeah, you joined a group of very passionate guys, I have to say, and I think you're in very good company. And what I've heard from you so far, you have a lot to offer. So I'm happy you're here, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super pumped to be here, and super pumped to just continue.
The awesome thing about Enzo is that he's super good at picking up things really fast, and he's got the presence, he's got the style, he's a great dude on top of all that, and so we're happy to have him in the band.
Welcome to the family.
He's only 24.
Yeah.
Makes us feel old all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brings the youth.
Yeah, it doesn't get any of our jokes.
Fair.
That's great. I wanted to touch a little bit on how you guys approach the songwriting. What I always pulled from the music is there's some pretty dark themes in a lot of the songs, but there's also that silver lining of that hope, and the message of sticking with it when it's hard, when you're feeling really down on yourself. Someone passes away that you love and you miss dearly, or just things like that. There's a lyric that always stuck out to me all these years later, and it still does, for Chance. And It's the tomorrow's a new day. Don't let it slip away, because dreams aren't made for nothing. Just think, take your time, and you'll finally find that life was always worth living. Like that always hits like so hard. Like I'm having a bad day, I will listen to that song, and when that part gets there, I'll play it back a few times. Just like, yeah, I gotta remind myself of that. So is that kind of what the message you guys want to convey to people? Is just hanging on to that hope and just not giving up no matter what you're facing?
Yeah, I mean, stuff is always. I feel like life is a lot of ups and downs. I
Hmm.
mean, it's constantly going to give you the downs, but if you don't look at the positives about things and know that you're going to get past those things, um, then it's not really worth living. So I feel like a lot of our songs, I mean, most of them have that, like you said, the darkness to them. Like they're like stuff happens,
Right.
but you're going to get past it. You're going to overcome it. You're going to thrive. You're going to, you're going to get through it. So I feel like that is true of our music, and I feel like when I write the lyrics for stuff, like I try to make it so that you know people know that we also go through these things. Everyone goes through these things. You're not alone in whatever you feel. And I feel like that's what I grew up like when I was listening to bands like I don't know, like Stained and stuff like that. I could tell that, he had a lot of painful lyrics, but like I felt that I was happy to know that someone else was going through these things, and I feel like that's very true of our music as well.
It absolutely is. Um, is do all of you contribute in some way to the lyrical process?
I think they do. I mean, like they definitely help out when I'm like I don't have the word for this thought
Stumps,
or
yeah.
whatever.
I
That's always
throw a bunch of random words on a whiteboard, and I think Jeremy he finds them funny sometimes. So I try my
Yeah,
best.
Yeah,
fond. Fond
I
is a
was just
word
gonna
that we've
say
tried to
that.
use. Yeah.
I was just
yeah.
gonna say that fond.
Have
So
you
he's
had
very fond
anything?
of it.
Have you had anything make the cut that you've thrown on the whiteboard?
Oh, I'm sure there has been. There has been for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm a thesaurus at the same time. So
So that's funny that you say that because I feel like I'm a walking dictionary as well, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know as many words as I think I do because I find myself using a lot of the same ones.
oh, I keep learning new
Yeah.
words. It's crazy. I'm like, how did I not know that word? It's
Yeah.
people just blow my mind sometimes when it comes into these new words. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's like the Urban Dictionary and all that stuff, and like the ones that I've been hearing lately, I'm just like, I wonder if my generation was like this with slang terms, that I
Yeah,
just don't remember anymore.
for real, no
Yeah, like
cap.
or skibbity thing or whatever the hell it is. I feel like some like 60-year-old man like sitting on his head, like just like youngins and their gibberish.
No busting, man. No busting.
Yeah. Um, so I want to touch on Hopeless. I have to say that I have a hard time deciding which song I like more between that and In Flames because I connected them in different ways.
Hmm.
Um, what was what was the process for Hopeless when it was written and from all angles? Like I want to deep dive into that one.
I mean, so we had those two songs written for a little while. And then, it was time to like come out with stuff, and we were like, we think that these are the strongest of the bunch. And I think that what we really wanted to do is come out with, two heavy hitting songs
Mhm.
that were just like kind of in your face. And I know that like people have this I don't know, mixed view of what they like best about Silent Season, because we were known for doing ballads for so long, but we listen to such heavy music. So like it's tough, you know, like
Right.
to pick out like what we want to do. But we were like, you know what? We want to stay true to like, the heavy music that we listen to and, go with the heavier songs. But I mean they also have the melodic, parts that
Mhm.
we love
Oh
about
yeah.
them. So um yeah, I mean, I think at that point too, like I was going through some rough patches and I really was kind of questioning like where my life was, taking me as far as lyrics go.
Right.
And I feel like that those were very therapeutic for me to get out there. Because at the time it was not good.
Yeah.
But once again, music always pulls you through and I feel like those were two life-saving songs in their own ways.
Yeah, I definitely relate to the theme of hopeless. I've felt that way more times in my life than I can count. So
Yeah, yeah.
the what's conveyed in that song definitely reaches the listener for the right person.
Hell yeah. I'm
Yeah,
glad to hear that.
yeah. What about for you? What's your thoughts on hopeless?
I love Hopeless. I love the direction we took it. It's a fun song to play. I mean, we just played it. We started debuting it, so we just started playing shows again. It was the second show, and I love playing it in the set. It's in your face. The drum parts are fun. I like the fills, but just a deep meaning behind it, and also like you had just opened up. Will we get a lot of feedback from our fans? They'll send us messages across social media saying this song impacted my life positively. It helped me get through dark times. So we get that for a lot of the music, and that makes us like we're just blown away by that because we're so happy that we can reach our fans and spread a positive message and just let them know that even though there's dark times, there's still hope,
Right.
for whatever you do in your life, you just got to stay with the course and don't get
Yeah.
yourself down if you can. So, but the song is great and I love the heavy direction. I like it. Hearing what everything else is out there today, it's a good place for silent season to be in, just because of where I feel like hard rock, metal, active rock, new metal, whatever you want to call it, is heading, and that coming back being cyclical. It's perfect timing for this music, so it makes me excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I've like one band in particular besides Simon Says that I'm just forward is back. Kitty recently released a new record, and I didn't think
I
I'd
love
ever.
it.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd ever see those ladies come back, and they did, and that record just
It's heavy.
slams. It
It's
slams.
heavy. I love it. It's really cool. It's really cool. I was excited to see that, and I was listening to it. I'm like, wow, this is really
Yeah,
good. All the parts, the melodies, the drumming. It's just like, wow, my mind was blown away hearing it.
absolutely. And Brendan, what about you for Hopeless? Yeah, what's your experience with that song?
I like it.
Yeah.
I just like the guitar parts because that's what I do.
Yeah. Hey, you love what you love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enzo, what about you, man?
Yeah, yeah. Hopeless is definitely a really good song. I remember when I first joined and the guys showed me like Hopeless for the first time. These perfect song for this band to like come back with, after a hiatus. Like it's the perfect blend of like being super aggressive and heavy, and also you can hear this played on like Sirius XM, like uh,
Mhm.
it's super cool. It's got everything, and yeah, I love playing it.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I appreciate about Silent Season as a whole. Like what you were touching on earlier, Jeremy, about like your ballady stuff and the stuff. The dynamic is always just super great on your guys' music. Like whether it's like the heavy hitting songs with the screaming, some breakdowns in it, and the chuggy guitars, or the really heartfelt, emotional ballady stuff. Like everything is done so well and with that deliberate passion. And I think that's a you guys are going to be long standing in the scene for as long as you want to because of that. Like we touched on earlier, you could go away for 5 years and probably come back and everyone's still here, and like your songs stand the test of time.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate that feedback, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
absolutely, man. That's what I'm all about on this. Like I love to just flood the compliments because I mean it. You guys deserve to know that what you do has its purpose and it does what it's meant to. So as much as it helps you, it helps someone like me as well. So, and then
Thank you.
yeah, let's start on how the new song "In Flames" came to be and the reception.
It was right around, it was literally in that same pocket of time that Hopeless was done, which is interesting because I feel like in their own way, um they're really kind of it, I don't mean to like whatever like to insinuate that they're the same like song, but like they're
Right.
not, but they have the same meaning. It's just a different way of putting it. Like my basically I'm hopeless, like my life is in flames. I guess that the meaning behind in flames was that like everything around me was just kind of like burning down, and I was just like, where do I stand in all of this? You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so when we were doing that, like I feel like that's like the headspace, everything within. And it was a little bit more melodic in its own way than Hopeless, but it also has the heavy hitting parts.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's the I don't know the best explanation. I don't know what if anyone else can add to that, but
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else feel free to add to that. I want to hear all input.
Yeah, yeah, I'll jump in. I've heard a mix of feedback. If we're talking both Hopeless and In Flames, they're all great songs in their own regards. I've had a couple of people say to me they feel In Flames is a little bit more accessible, like Jeremy was saying, with it being a little bit more melodic. But
Mhm.
we bring the listener back in with that heavy bridge and the screams, and they're like, okay, that's still Silent Season. It's not going to be like a melodic song throughout the whole thing. They're still going to bring that heavy element into it, and that's important to this band. And not to get off the main topic of In Flames, but we always wanted to craft songs that were heavy hitting, melodic, and that's why before we were doing the ballads, we were listening to the heavy music. We wanted to somehow bring it together, and I finally feel like we're there now, bringing those two concepts together when we write music, and trying to also obviously do what we feel is right, but match it with there's a lot of sampled music out there now, a
Right.
lot of samples, and with strings on choruses and things like that, and we intertwine that with our music too. So within Flames, you're getting sort of the best of every world you can possibly get. Also with Hopeless too. So um, it's just trying to be diverse, and stay out there, be contemporary, and still do what you love, I guess.
Right. And you're talking about diversity. Any one of you could answer this question. Do you find it hard at all to like kind of stay diverse? Because I feel like to a point you could only do so much with the sound, like you know what I mean. So is that hard to pull off? You feel?
oh, I mean, I've spoken a lot. Does anyone else have anything?
I mean, like music, like musically, like I mean, there's so many genres that we all like, and just like writing a heavy, wicked heavy riff, and then you like, well, I like a chorus that's nice and melodic and
Mhm.
big chords, and nice strings in the background. Like it all comes down to like all the genres that we really like to do.
Right. And so you guys keep talking about like you listen to some like really heavy music. Like, what are some of the things that you're listening to, or they're kind of like in some way influencing maybe a direction, with the new? new material or material that you're going back to and kind of touching on again?
Uh, I think that I mean, personally, I think Dave and I can't speak for everyone else's. I know Dave's music. I know what he listens to because we talk about it all the time.
Right.
Um, but it's very eclectic. It's also we listen to whatever is the newest, thing. So we listen from everything to like Alpha Wolf to like I don't know what's like a more like melodic
The,
band.
well, I was actually gonna say I'm bumping the New Wage War. Oh my God,
Oh
it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
good,
yeah.
so good.
I just started in on that. I just started in on that one yesterday.
Love it. Love the New Wage War. That's a band that influences us. But melodic. Well, Catch Your Breath. We've been
Yep.
vibing with those guys. We really like their direction. Super solid choruses. We heard them on Octane. Dayseeker.
Yeah.
They're great. I'm a big fan of Dayseeker. I like that new tune they're bumping, Dream State. And then Rain City Drive. If we're talking again a little bit more melodic, I'm a fan of Rain City Drive. So we try to like dabble a little bit in that. And you got Alpha Wolf, Wage War, all these heavier bands, and where's that middle space? And then also the classics, the Breaking Benjamins of the
Oh yeah.
world, 3 Days Grace, Metallica, Seven Dust. But anyway, we it's all around that, and we bring it all together. And like Brendan said earlier, bring these influences, and it's kind of a mix of everything, and we find ourselves in our own sound.
Yeah, I think that's really well put. I think that really nails it. That's how I feel about your music when I'm listening to it as well. And what's kind of jarring sometimes that I hear is those bands that you just talked about. Some of them are over 20 years old, right? And hearing someone call Breaking Benjamin like a classic and stuff. I remember when they came out, and I always wondered what that would how I'd feel hearing that like years down the road, like Linkin Park, even, or Stayed, and bands like that, Seven Dust. I'm like, you could consider them classic rock now, and it's just kind of mind-boggling to even say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll define classic too. So because we know those bands, so I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that if they hear this and they don't take it the wrong way. When I mean classic, I'm not necessarily thinking classic rock. I'm not saying you're insinuating that. I'm just when I say classic, like amazing, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
pioneers. They came up in the early 2000s. They laid the roadmap for us younger bands to do what we love within this genre and keep it alive on radio and I wish MTV was still around, but like we could still kind of carry on that legacy of what they were doing and hopefully make an impact within active rock and vibe with those guys.
I want to ask you guys, what was it like playing with Seven Dust? Because I've heard stories from bands that say that it's very intimidating to go on before or even after Seven Dust.
It was the best.
Yeah.
Really, that really sums it up, honestly.
Yeah, because I just
Do you want
found
to go,
out.
Jeremy?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, go ahead. It looks like you had something to say, Dave.
Yeah, no, quickly. I would
I
just say to answer your question, Will. I mean, it was. I think we were just in so much awe that we were on tour with Seven Dust in the first place. It was just kind of like how when you're first in shock, you like just act kind of normal in a sense. Like I was like Morgan Rose, by the way, is my favorite. He's one of my favorite drummers. I mean, God bless Neil Peart and all those awesome drummers. But like from my generation, Morgan Rose is the guy. Like, and being on tour with him and watching him and then playing before him, I'm not gonna lie, there was some nerves, but I was like, I try not to fanboy hardcore, so it was such an experience. We were nervous, we were happy, it was all emotions.
I can only imagine because I was nervous when I was in the crowd when I saw Seven Dust this year for the very first time, and I wasn't even a band on that stage opening for them or playing after them, and they were everything anybody's ever told me that they were with their live show. Like they're it blows your mind like what they pull off live. Like it truly does.
Yeah. I remember seeing them in the parking lot, like walking in, trying to go to sound check, and they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, hi, hi." I couldn't say hi to them.
Yeah, they were super nice though. They were like one of the nicest bands that we've played with. Like they didn't like have big heads about,
Mhm.
who they were or whatever. They were just like chill dudes, and that was what was best about playing with them.
Uh, talk about live shows. You got a show is on the 29th, right? Coming up.
Yep.
Do.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that because I don't think I'm familiar with the bands that are on that with you.
You guys want me to take this one?
Take it.
Go ahead.
I'll take it. All right. We're playing in Salem, New Hampshire, a little bit up north, not too far from my house, which is cool. But we're playing with the bands Chasing the Devil and Red Crown. And Red Crown, uh, the genre across the board is a great fit for all three bands. Red Crown is into the active rock scene. Those guys have been around in other capacities since the early 2000s in the Boston scene. So it's really cool. I kind of feel like there's a sense of the scene coming back. I know Jeremy was talking about the scene earlier when we first started, but it kind of just it went away, and now it's weird. Like I was talking about being cyclical with things. I feel like the scene is somewhat coming back slowly, and that's great for us because there's more opportunities to get back out there. But the show is going to be killer. It's definitely going to be sold out. It's like a couple hundred person capacity. It's a cool show. It's going to be a great show. And we want to play more of these types of shows. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love to play festivals and be on the big stages and get in front of a lot of people. However, those more intimate shows allows us to be closer with our fans and connect with them and hang out with them, sign some stuff, sell merch and just shoot the crap, So it's going to be fun. We're looking forward to it. We got another show we're announcing shortly after that, and we're trying to stay busy for the rest of the year. I mean, we also, we'll probably get into it with more music later, but we're just staying busy as a band, business wise, creative wise, show wise, you name it, we're here.
I really hope that you guys can come as far out as Oregon because, like, I need to see you guys live. Like I got to check Seven Dust off, but I have not been able to check off Silent Season.
I know.
I know touring is expensive. Like I know that right out the gate. It's not cheap. It's not easy. There's a lot that goes into the planning. It's just this whole thing, right? But if you guys are gonna work on coming this way, you're gonna make my day.
Well, it could be a possibility. I mean, a quick story. We did a radio show out in Aberdeen, South Dakota. We literally drove all the way from Boston, Aberdeen, in like
Right.
what, a 2-day period, guys, and drove home. And we didn't have anything. We didn't have time to book anything else because at the time we had other things going on. So we just said, okay, we're gonna go out and do this radio show. We did it, and then we drove straight home. So I mean, maybe a trip out to Oregon with a few stops in between. It's not impossible. We've done things like that before.
So not to quote Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber, but you're saying there's a chance.
There's always a chance. Anything you need, it's always a chance.
That's awesome. So I'm going to start kind of ramping up to wrap up here. You said something about additional music. What's that going to look like? Just more singles? Because I love singles. I love EPs. I love albums. I take what I could get. What's that look like, let's say, for the next year, if you could go that far?
So we're trying to we're in the process of writing new music. We already have a song pretty much written out at this point. I have tried to take over for the mixing and mastering portion of everything to A, save money on things, and B,
Right.
just because I feel like I've been doing this for years, so I'm trying to make a mix that's going to be worthy of, putting out. So we have a couple songs in the works. Our plan as far as the Earth program that we're with right now is to try to release something every, like, 3 to 4 months or so. So we're gonna try very, very hard to stay in that realm. Um, we're doing singles only because uh, we hope that there will be some growth within the band and people helping us out eventually. We would like to be signed at some point so that we could, have some support behind us. And I feel like if we were to just put out, like a full album or an EP or something like that, which we still may put out an EP of everything we've released, it would just be, throwing a bunch of songs out there and, then not having, them picked up by someone else. So the hope is to keep releasing singles so that, we can further ourselves and satisfy the fans by, not being so stagnant on, like, coming out with a single like almost a year later, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, I say what makes most sense for you guys is always the course to take. So if that's how it's gonna look for like the game plan, I say stick to it because yeah, it just sounds the simplest and makes the most sense. Um, is there any kind of dream collaboration that you guys would like to do on a future release?
Oh, that's a good question.
And it
Oh
could be from
man.
any
Are we
kind of
talking
music.
vocals? Are we talking guitar? Are we talking?
Like it could be anything. Like, it could be from any kind of music as well. Like something that maybe people wouldn't expect that you guys would love to have as an element or a feature on a song.
I feel like the most fair way to go about this is to literally go around to each person and ask
Yeah.
who they would
Okay.
want to be featured on our track.
So let's start with you then. With that.
Oh man, um, go to someone else first.
All right. How about you, Enzo?
Um, hmm. I'm a fan of many bands, but one of my probably my all time band is He Is Legend. Um,
Great band.
they're so good, most underrated. I would have the guitarist Adam on a track. He slays. Every riff is super super cool. If I would love to collab with them at some point. I don't think that would ever happen, but if I could, I would get.
Hey, you never know. It's like there's wilder things that have happened, in music, film, or just history in general. So
Mhm.
never say never.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, David?
All
You're
right.
gonna
I
say
know
Morgan
it's
Rose, aren't you?
I know we need to pick one. However, I want to do a current artist and maybe an artist from an older time. But
Okay.
I would say for a current artist, like I'd love to have Doc Coyle from Bad Wolves and God forbid throw a guitar part on one of our tunes and collaborate. I would love that. I always had that in the back of my mind for many years. Like he's a great dude. We've
Uh,
been Music's been on his podcast before, the X-Men podcast, and he's just down to earth and he's super talented. Would love to have him on one of our tracks. And then for an artist that's a little bit older, I would love Doug Pinnick from King's X. Maybe do
wow.
something with him. He can slay. I mean, that would be great. I mean, I grew up with King's X, and that would be really cool, just to kind of bring back that vibe at some level. So those are my two, current and from the past.
That's probably the most interesting one out of what I've heard so far. What about you, Brendan?
I'm kind of in the same boat with Dave, like old and new,
Uh,
like either James or Kirk from Metallica, and Clint from Seven Dust.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What about you, Jeremy? You got one?
Yeah, I was thinking about it while we were doing this. If it was like a screaming part, I would love the dude from Wage War. I,
Mm.
does anybody know the screamer's name? I'm lacking right now.
Yeah, me too. Oh man.
I
I
should
know we're
know
all
this.
like, oh no.
Brendan's
I'm
real time
calling him out and I
Googling.
don't even know his name. That's terrible.
Isn't that funny how like you could listen to bands and you could not know some of the band members' names?
Yeah,
Googling right
yeah.
now.
Brendan's getting real time data for us. He's
But
crunching
if it was
numbers.
a singing part, I would actually to go off of Dave here. I would actually ask DL from
Mm,
Bad Wolves
Mm,
to have a vocal part. He's a really good singer. I
I
dig his
agree.
stuff.
Absolutely
hell yeah.
agree. Those
Britton
are some
Bond.
really killer choices. I'd love to hear all of that. And then
Oh,
I
we got
had
an answer from Brendan. Sorry.
Wait,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's not it. Google failed. Oh wait, no,
Google
Britton
failed.
Bond. Yeah, Britton Bond.
Britton Vaughn.
Bond, like
Huh.
James Bond.
Well,
Oh, Bond.
Yeah.
if he somehow sees this, reach out to the guys in Silent Season. All right.
And sorry we forgot your name.
I'm sorry, man.
Hope that doesn't hurt the cred.
I know.
And then here's one that I'm stealing from my buddy in Beyond the Breakdown podcast, and it gets some really interesting answers. So as far as like foods or like drinks, what would best describe Silent Season that is a food or a drink? If you had to pick.
A Mai Tai.
A Mai Tai.
Mai Tai with French fries hanging out of it.
I can't really make that out, Brendan.
Sam Adams, Boston Lager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, can you say lager one more time for the audience?
Lager.
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 I was gonna say it this whole time I've been talking with you guys. Whenever he talks, I just sit and listen because his accent's so cool.
Enzo, what do you think? What about a food? Enzo, what do you think?
Oh, I have no idea.
You could say pizza. Yeah, that's okay.
Fair enough. Pizza, a Subway.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't catch David. Did you say one?
Me?
Yeah, I didn't catch yours.
Yeah, Jeremy said Mai Tai because I love Mai Tais and I think he does too, but I said Mai Tai with French fries hanging out of it. I could probably eat fries until the dawn of time, which I know is completely unhealthy, but it's my vice. It's what I do. I love fries. Like I should have been asked to be on Super Size Me. Honestly, I should have been that actor. Even though I feel like I'm bringing up all these folks that have died. R.I.P. He did die from.
Yeah.
I read the article. He was drinking a bit, but not to be disrespectful here. However, I wanted to be in that movie.
Well, you and my kiddo have that in common because he eats fries like nobody's business. Like he for example, like is Carl's Jr. called Carl's Jr. from where you guys are from, or is it called Hardee's?
Hardee's.
Okay, so Hardee's or Carl's Jr. We got him. He loves chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, right? So we got him a medium size, right? And as soon as I took the fries out of the bag and set it in front of his plate, he takes it and he just flips over and dumps it out on his food and just eats a pile of French fries.
Smart man.
Yeah, I mean I love French fries too, but I don't think I love them as much as he does or as much as you. Yeah.
What's your favorite fry, Will? Is it Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King? What would you go for?
So do you guys have a Five Guys burgers down in your parts?
Hell yeah. Love Five Guys.
Yeah, I love the
fries.
peanut oil. Yeah, I love the peanut oil. So 100% Five Guys. 100%.
Brendan, didn't we have to carry you by a Five Guys after that show in Louisiana across the street because we all had a little bit too much to drink and we all got lost or something and you were on a table or something. I don't know the exact story, but it had to do with Five Guys across from the venue at the Varsity.
I don't even remember. But
I
I
think it
do.
wasn't Five Guys. I think it was some.
It was like a chicken
restaurant.
place.
Yeah, it was like a different place.
Crocodile food or something. I don't know. It was 12 Foot Ninja or whatever. Yeah.
sad day about 12-foot Ninja that they're
I
hanging.
know, man. Come
Yeah.
on, Stevic. Come on. If you're
And
listening to this, bring it back, bro. Bring them
yeah,
all
bring
in.
it back.
I'm
You're
the
too
most
good of a band to stop.
Enzo, were you saying something? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no.
worries.
I'm just I am the most crushed about 12-foot Ninja.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
them.
like they're one of the Australian bands that I just can't get enough of. Them and Carnival, bands like that, or Butterfly
Yeah.
Effect. Like, sad day for those guys in 12-foot Ninja. Like, I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be real. You know.
And those guys are so talented, and they're so funny too. When we were doing a small run with them, they're so hilarious. Like Ross and Stevic. Like I went to shake Stevic's hand, and he had like a plastic hand that came out of his sleeve. I'm like, "What is this?" He's like, "Hey, mate," and like just gave me the plastic hand. I'm like, "What is going on right now? I love you. This is great."
Did you
Super cool.
did you keep that plastic hand and like put it in like a case?
I wanted to take it, but like he's like, "Can I get that back?" I'm like, "I guess, sure." I wanted him to sign it and keep it, but yeah.
Man, that's a wild story.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, those guys were great, man. I mean, they were put on a hell of a show every night, and it was awesome, and it was great.
Yeah, I bet. Sucks. I probably won't get to see him live, but is what it is.
I still talk to Russ every now and then on Facebook. I'm like, "Hey, you coming back out?" I try to pretend that I'm not looking at their posts about they're not a band. I'm just like I'm trying to get them to come back and like get together. And he's like,
I mean,
it's a lot of money to get to America.
You never know. Sometimes with bands, like they take some time away, like 5 years, 10 years, 3 years, or whatever, and they start getting that itch, and then they want to reconvene, and like it starts small, and then the next thing you know, they have an album, and then like a world tour or something, and it just takes off. So, yeah, you never know. Well, guys, I'm probably gonna have to wrap this up, but this has been a whole hell of a lot of fun. Just couldn't be more grateful.
Likewise.
This is probably my favorite episode so far that I've done.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you for having us, man. Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. To be completely honest with you, I wasn't sure you guys were going to say yes, not because I thought that you wouldn't want to do a podcast, but because I thought you might be too busy.
Always down, man. And sorry it took a little bit to get back. We were in the middle of a release, but hey, I'm glad we finally could make it happen.
Yeah. Well, hey, to tell you how patient I am, the one with Lines of Loyalty took months to get.
Oh.
But I am that patient. Like I will hang out for a year if I have to, and for that to finally fall into place. So I wouldn't worry about the time frame at all.
Okay, cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate the patience.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, we enjoyed your variety of questions.
Yeah, well, thank you. I do my best. I think this worked a lot better than past episodes where I didn't have anything written down because it helped my flow. So, I thank you.
Yeah, man.
That's
of course.
Well, I wish you guys the best, and I can't wait to hear what's next. Again, I don't care if it takes a year. I'm still going to be here when the song comes out. So, yeah, keep at it. I think it's going to pay off for you guys getting signed like you're wanting. And, been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Will.
Man, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to say when the next song you're gearing up for that, I'll reach out to you guys, or you could reach out to me and we can do it.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. You guys have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your night and evening. I didn't mean to put that on the screen. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Excellent.
Right,
Rock on.
Thank you again.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
You as well.
Bye-bye.